another day, another chance, another way, another dance. Today I'll be discussing to you all about, something that needs to be discussed. It's gonna be a train, right? A very particular train. So I'm gonna be discussing. I'm gonna be talking about it actually. So yeah, it's a train that I'm gonna be doing. So just sit tight. And yeah, watch this, man. Okay, fuck. So making functional. Functions are the building blocks for JavaScript programs, right? They help you to keep from having to repeat yourself, and they make your programs neater and more flexible. This chapter we use functions to create a game called function Junction. Click the train to make it go faster. Click the stop button to stop it. Try to stop it as close to the edge as possible without crashing. So that's the functions are programs inside of programs. Functions are great handling tasks that may be required multiple times by different parts of a program. They're also a great way to keep things organized within your program. Some functions are built in JavaScript, such as the methods of erasures, numbers, and other objects. You can tell that something's a function because it has parentheses after it. When a function is part of an object, there's a document object, for example, call it a method, but still a function. Here are some of the functions that are built into JavaScript that you've already used. It's just built in, right? So yeah, just built into JavaScript, man. So if you read through the previous chapters, you've already seen functions in action to the demonstration programs. Here's an example of a function that adds smiley face to any text you give it. So yeah, here's an example. And it just adds like smiley text, smiley face to anything that you give it, man. So it's hi there, or there's smiley it, hi there, smiley it, hi there. Statement smiley it. Yeah, I forgot that. Function, my function. Statements go here. We open my function. Statements go here. Function. This is the function body. My function. Right. Same thing there, man. It's just like all in all, same thing. So yeah. The book's just gonna be going over like functions that you've got that you're dealing with. But I want to go over something that's gonna be relative to us. There's the functions for like and the HTML setup for our train. So for our train, all we need to do is for HTML, pretty much set up the basis for HTML, shift exclamation mark, enter. And what you've got here is doc HTML, HTML language English, doc type HTML, HTML language English, head meta char set, meta name, viewport, title, document title, and then head, body HTML. So that's what you've got here, man. So making it functional. Doc type HTML, HTML language English, head meta char set, GFE. So that's what making it functional. And then link relations. Associate href, chapter 12.css, head body, making functional, div id container, div id track, div id train, image source. What's this? So this is an image source that you can be using. The image source gives us train here. So that's the image source that we need. So what's this train.png, div id train, then div id stop button stop, chapter 12.js. So all of that is relative to us, right? So each one making it functional. So that's gonna be the heading. Each one. Div ID is gonna be container. You're gonna need that for JavaScript because we need add functions to these. What these do is they pretty much just set the whole aesthetics, the whole makeup for like your HTML stuff that you'd be able to see in the HTML. So ID container, ID track, ID train, image source, what's this? Div ID stop button stop, script source chapter. So the script source for the scripts, obviously we need to make sure that all of these work, within the script. So we need to source out the JavaScript because the JavaScript is mostly in relations to like the HTML because the JavaScript adds functionality from the back end and the HTML pretty much adds like the framework, that you see on the front end. So chapter 12, that's JS, that's we've got div ID stop button, div ID train, image source, div, so right, so we got our headers, so we got our head tags, closing, opening, closing, body tags. So within the body, we need to add everything that we need to add to make sure that we've got a visible train along train tracks, etc. So HTML, I'm making the train functional. Chapter 12.css, style sheet, link. So this is pretty much says the overall, like, pretty much the reason why you add CSS to our head is because this is pretty much the framework skeleton, or exoskeleton, to making our HTML look better. As you've got then JS. So JS is pretty much the functions that you've got, So train speed 250, train position 0. So our train can be starting with 0, then variable animation. So animation has everything to do with all the stuff that you're gonna add here. The animations for graphics. So variable train equals document get element by ID train, add events listener, click, speed up, variable button equals document, get element by ID stop button, add event listener, click, stop train, function speed up if train is greater than 10, train minus equal to 10. Do I mean? So yeah, that's what it does. So if train speed is greater than 10, then train speed, right, it needs to be minus or equal to 10. That's what it needs to be equal to, cause of log train speed plus train speed. So the train speed is going to be greater than 10, right? Negative equal to 10. So for every time you click on the train, you're going to speed it up by 10. So variable train document get element by ID. So your element that we're dealing with is for our train element, right? So you got our train element, get element by ID train, right? So that's what we have. Train.id event listen. So click, every time you click, So for every time you click on your mouse, train speeds up. Then the variable stop button is stop button, stop button. Add event listen and click stop train. So those are log train speed plus train speed. Clear interval animation set interval frame comma train speed. So this pretty much gives like an event listener functionality to a button, stop button. Like I said, for JavaScript responsible for functionality of everything that you've got on HTML. Speed up comes a log train speed plus train speed, clear interval animation set interval, frame comma train speed, function frame, train position. So plus equal to, what this does is the equal sign keeps everything the same, but what the additional sign does is it adds on to what you already got. So train.style.left, train position plus px constant log train position, a check position, train position, right? So function check position, current position. So if current position is exactly equal to 420, give me an alert to say, ooh, that it sounds random, but that ooh, it's pretty much telling us that we need to stop. So now console log is gonna read out crash, clear interval animation, train.start.left. So train.start.left, train position, train.start.left equals 0. So as soon as we crash, right, and press OK on our alert, then it's gonna go back to its original position, right? Then train position is gonna start at 0 as well. So the bug way goes over just after we press the button. It's been fixed. Right, so yeah, stop train if train position is less than 120. Clear interval animation. So this is actually a full stack relationship between our front end of HTML and our back end of JS. And what our CSS does is it actually increases the quality of our aesthetics in regards to our HTML, makes it look better. So container, padding, width, height, background color, 10px, 500px, 80%, width 500px, border top 2px solid, border top 12px solid, RGB margin 30px auto, height, width, position, left, background color, yada yada, this and that, man. So this actually increases the quality of the economics that we have in our HTML, man. That's what it does. So let's go to our File Explorer, right? File Explorer. Okay, so come on now, come on now. Okay, making the train functional. So that's what we've got. But before we go there, So for our original code, we've got 260, 260. So you still got bugs in this function, man. So you press this, right? Okay, press that. As you can see, you've got a bug. So the train continues, still carrying on. You know what I mean? Train still carrying on. The button still works. The stop button still works. So as you can see, the button still works. The stop button. But not only does it finish early, it stop early, but as soon as you click it on it again, it carries on. And even if you press stop button, it still carries on. At the start of at the start, you want to make the case of, you can make sure that it stops. So what we do is, what we do is stop button, this and that, what we do is we're gonna take the function that we've got already, check position, current position, right? Take this function, what you do is you do train.style.left equals 0. So what this does is, as soon as the train crashes, what you do at first is, if current position is exactly 120, even alert, then cancel log crash. So that's what you need to do. So train positions less than 120, then stop train, right? Check position, gives us alerts, and then stop train gives a function of stopping the train just below like 420, So, and then once you press OK, you immediately go back, train stop at left, right? Right? That's what it immediately does. See now. See now. As you can see, press the button. The functions from JavaScript, then the layout from HTML, and the verification of the layouts from CSS. So you've got a full stack relationship. Voila. Stop. As you can see here, it goes back. Stop. The reason why is regard that because not only is our current position has to be equal to like 420 or less than 420, but our train.south.left equals 0 and train position equals 0. As you can see here, as you can see, with regards to, has got some functionality. Thank you very much for being so attentive to what I was actually delegating in regards to what I was speaking on. Thank you very much for being so attentive, and really appreciate you. Next time, take care of your blessed things. This thing's so on.